So, yesterday we sat down on this channel and talked about the possibility of Konami giving us a free Legends Assemble selection contract as part of this appreciation campaign. At the time, it was just a prediction because nothing had been confirmed yet. Fast forward to today, and Konami actually went ahead and did exactly that. I can't lie, this is one of those rare moments where they genuinely deserve some credit because this isn't just another campaign where they throw GP training programs and a couple of skill tokens at us and call it a day. This time they're giving every active player the opportunity to sign an epic legend of their choice completely free, and I honestly think this is one of the best appreciation campaigns they've ever released. The funny thing is, some people have already made up their minds just because they saw a familiar face like Rio Ferdinand or Paul Scholes, while others are saying they're picking Marco Reus because he's one of their favorite players in real life. That's exactly why I wanted to make this video, because this isn't a normal chance deal where the game chooses for you. This time, Konami is putting the decision in your hands. And when you only get one selection contract, making the wrong decision can easily leave you regretting it months from now. Now, before we even look at the players themselves, let me quickly explain how you actually get this selection contract, because I've seen a lot of people confused already. The process is actually very straightforward. All you need to do is keep progressing through the festival campaign map. Every match you play earns map points, and the more goals you score, the faster you'll move across the map. Division matches count, PvP matches count, AI tour events count, so you don't have to go out of your way to grind a special mode. Just keep playing the game normally and you'll continue unlocking new nodes. As you move across the map, Konami keeps rewarding you with different items along the way. You'll pick up GP, coins, and other useful rewards, but the reward everyone is actually waiting for comes after you've advanced through 25 nodes. That's when you'll receive the Legends Assemble selection contract. And unlike a chance deal, this lets you choose whichever player you want from the available legends. So don't rush it. There's no timer forcing you to make an instant decision. Claim the contract first, watch this video, understand what every player brings to the table, and then make your choice. Now, another thing I want to mention before we begin is that this video isn't about telling you that one player is good and another player is bad, because honestly, I don't think there's a bad card in this campaign. Konami has actually done a really good job with these selections. Almost every single player here has something unique going for them, whether it's their playstyle, their stats, or the brand new pay-to-win skill they've been given. David Seaman is a perfect example. We haven't seen an epic David Seaman since 2024, and now he's back with GK directing defense, which immediately makes him far more interesting than people are giving him credit for. The same thing applies to players like Frank Rijkaard with Fortress, Dennis Bergkamp with momentum dribbling, Rui Costa with phenomenal pass, and Rio Ferdinand with aerial fort. Every card has something that separates it from the others, so instead of making this a simple ranking video, I'm going to break down every single legend one by one. We'll talk about what makes them special, who they're best suited for, whether they're worth your selection contract, and by the end of the video you'll have enough information to decide which player fits your squad instead of blindly copying somebody else's choice. Let's start with the player I know a lot of you already have your eyes on, and that's Rio Ferdinand. Honestly, I don't blame you. Every time Konami releases an epic Rio Ferdinand, people immediately start asking whether he's the best center back in the game, and this version isn't any different. The first thing that stands out is obviously the defending. 95 defensive awareness, 94 defensive engagement, 95 tackling, and 96 aggression. Those are elite numbers already, but when you combine them with 84 speed, 93 jump, and 94 physical contact, you've basically got a defender that can deal with almost every type of striker in the game. If your opponent wants to play through balls, Rio has the pace to recover. If they want to spam crosses, he has 93 heading together with aerial superiority. If they want to bully you physically, 94 physical contact says otherwise. He's simply built to win duels. Then we get to what makes this version different from the previous Rio Ferdinand cards, and that's his new pay-to-win skill, Aerial Fort. Aerial Fort is exactly the type of ability you'd want on a defender like Rio. It makes him even more dominant in aerial situations, which is scary because he was already one of the best aerial center backs before getting it. Imagine trying to score from corners or lofted through balls against this guy. Good luck. Another thing I really like is that Konami didn't sacrifice his speed just because they made him physically stronger. 84 speed on a build-up center back is still excellent in today's meta, especially when so many people are playing quick counter and constantly looking for balls over the top. The only real question you have to ask yourself is this: do you actually need another elite build-up center back? Because if you already own players like Maldini, Varane, Van Dijk, or another top-tier build-up defender, then Rio becomes less of a necessity. But if you're still using standard cards, or you've been waiting for a proper endgame center back without spending coins, Rio Ferdinand immediately becomes one of the strongest arguments for using your selection contract. Personally, I don't think anybody would regret choosing him. He'll probably stay in your squad for a very long time. But does that automatically make him the best player in this campaign? Not necessarily, because some of the players we're about to talk about offer something even harder to replace than an elite center back. Let's move on. The next player I want to talk about is Frank Rijkaard, and honestly, this might be one of the most complete free defensive midfielders Konami has released in a long time. He's a destroyer, which already tells you the type of player he is. His job isn't to sit back and watch the game. It's to win the ball as early as possible and completely disrupt your opponent's attacks. 96 defensive awareness, 93 tackling, 92 aggression, 87 speed, and 91 stamina. Those numbers are ridiculous for a DMF. He's quick enough to chase players, aggressive enough to pressure them, and has enough stamina to keep doing it for the entire match. But what makes this version special isn't just the stats. It's the pay-to-win skill, Fortress. We've already seen how impactful Fortress can be on defenders. It makes them even more reliable when protecting a lead and defending dangerous situations. Putting that skill on someone like Rijkaard means your midfield becomes an absolute nightmare to play through. The thing people also overlook is his passing. 89 low pass and 87 lofted pass mean he isn't just winning the ball. He can immediately start attacks after recovering possession. So instead of simply being a defensive wall, he's also helping your build-up play. If you're the type of player that feels exposed defensively, or you're constantly conceding because your midfield gets bypassed too easily, Rijkaard is honestly one of the safest choices in this campaign. Speaking of defensive midfielders, let's move to Mark van Bommel, because I know some people will immediately compare him with Rijkaard. The first major difference is their playstyle. Van Bommel is an anchorman, while Rijkaard is a destroyer. That means Van Bommel is naturally more disciplined. Instead of stepping out aggressively to chase opponents, he'll usually stay in front of your defense, block passing lanes, and protect your backline. If you love using quick counter or long ball counter, you'll understand how valuable a proper anchorman can be. Looking at the stats, he's got 92 defensive awareness, 94 tackling, 95 aggression, 87 speed, and 90 stamina. Those are elite defensive numbers already, but then Konami added long-reach tackle as his exclusive skill. Now this is where things get interesting. Long-reach tackle allows him to win balls that many midfielders simply can't reach. We've all played against those players that somehow stick out one leg from an impossible angle and still recover possession. That's exactly what this skill is designed to do, and putting it on an anchor man makes him even more frustrating to play against. What I also appreciate is that Konami didn't neglect his passing. 92 low pass, 89 lofted pass, and passing skills like through passing, weighted pass, and one-touch pass mean he's more than capable of starting attacks after winning possession. So who should choose Van Bommel over Rijkaard? It's actually simple. If you like a midfielder that aggressively hunts the ball, Rijkaard is probably your guy. If you prefer someone who stays in position, shields your defense, and quietly controls the game, Van Bommel might suit your team better. Neither is a bad choice. It really depends on how you play. Let's talk about Marco Reus, because I think he's going to be one of the most underrated cards in this selection. A lot of people are going to see prolific winger and immediately move on to someone like Bergkamp or Scholes. But after looking at this card properly, I honestly think people are sleeping on him. The first thing that catches your attention is the dribbling. 93 tight possession, 94 ball control, and 93 dribbling mean the ball is almost glued to his feet. If you're someone who likes carrying the ball up the pitch instead of immediately passing, you're going to enjoy using him. He's also very quick. 88 speed. With 91 acceleration is more than enough to beat fullbacks, especially when combined with his balance and close control. Then you look at the finishing. 90 offensive awareness and 90 finishing for a winger is excellent. This isn't one of those wingers that only creates chances. Reus will score plenty of goals himself. But what makes this version unique is visionary pass. Now, we already know how valuable this skill can be because it improves the quality of attacking passes, especially those final balls around the penalty area. Reus already has through passing one-touch pass and pinpoint crossing, so adding visionary pass on top of that turns him into someone that can both score and create at an elite level. The only thing I'd say is that if you're someone who prefers explosive wingers with 95+ pace, Reus might not feel as rapid as players like Mbappe or Vinicius. But if your game is built around intelligent movement, passing combinations, and technical dribbling, this card is honestly fantastic. He's probably one of the most balanced attacking players in this campaign. Now this is where things start getting interesting. Dennis Bergkamp has always been one of those players that divides the community. Some people absolutely love him, while others say they can never get the best out of him. The reason is simple. He's a creative playmaker. And if you've watched my videos for a while, you already know creative playmakers aren't for everyone. They don't constantly make aggressive forward runs like a hole player or goal poacher. Instead, they drop into pockets of space, receive the ball, and become the heartbeat of your attack. If that's your style, Bergkamp is an absolute monster. 96 ball control, 95 tight possession, 94 dribbling, and 95 low pass immediately tell you what this card is about. He's going to receive difficult passes, hold onto the ball under pressure, and play those killer passes that split an entire defense open. Then you add 93 finishing. That's the scary part. He's not just creating chances, he'll finish them too. And then there's his pay-to-win skill, momentum dribbling. Out of all the exclusive skills in this campaign, this is probably one of the most exciting, because Bergkamp was already famous for making defenders look silly. Giving him a dribbling-focused exclusive skill just makes perfect sense. If you enjoy taking on defenders in tight spaces, this card is going to feel incredibly smooth. The only thing I'd advise is this. Don't sign Bergkamp expecting him to play like an Mbappe or a Rummenigge. That's not his game. He's a technical footballer, a player that controls the tempo. If you appreciate that style, he's easily one of the best attacking options available. Finally, let's talk about Rui Costa. I already know some people are going to skip him because they see Classic number 10, and I understand why. Classic number 10 isn't exactly the most popular playstyle in today's meta, but before you write him off, take a proper look at the card. 96 low pass, 96 lofted pass, 94 ball control, 94 tight possession, 94 curl. Then Konami gives him phenomenal pass. If there was ever a player designed to unlock stubborn defenses, it's Rui Costa. Every through ball, every lofted pass, every crossfield switch, every final pass around the box. That's literally what this card exists to do. The biggest issue with Classic number 10 players has always been movement. They don't naturally make as many forward runs as other attacking midfielders. So if you're someone who relies on your AMF constantly bursting into the box, Rui Costa might frustrate you. However, if you're a possession game player who likes controlling matches with quick passing combinations, Rui Costa suddenly becomes much more valuable. He's basically your on-field playmaker. Someone that dictates the rhythm of your entire attack. I'd even go as far as saying that in the right system, Rui Costa can easily outperform cards with better overall ratings simply because everything goes through him. So don't ignore him just because of his playstyle. Think about how you play first because he might be the smartest pick in the campaign. Now, let's move on to Paul Scholes, because I know this is one of the cards Manchester United fans have been waiting for. The moment people saw his name, they probably expected another orchestrator, but Konami decided to do something different by making him a box-to-box midfielder. And I actually think that makes this version much more useful. A box-to-box midfielder is involved in everything. He's helping the defense 1 minute, joining the attack the next, and that's exactly what Scholes is capable of doing. Looking at his stats, you immediately notice how balanced they are. He has excellent passing, brilliant kicking power, very good ball control, and enough stamina to keep influencing the game from the first whistle to the last. Then there's Low Screamer, his exclusive pay-to-win skill. If you've used players with high kicking power before, you already know how dangerous they can be from outside the box. Scholes already has long-range shooting, rising shot, and knuckle shot, so adding Low Screamer just makes him even more threatening whenever he gets a yard of space. Your opponent might spend the entire match marking your striker, only for Scholes to score a rocket from 25 yards. What I also like is that this isn't a midfielder that's limited to passing. He has over 90 low pass and lofted pass, so he can dictate the tempo of the game, but he also has enough finishing ability to contribute goals throughout the season. That's something a lot of midfielders don't offer. If your midfield currently lacks creativity, shooting, and work rate, Scholes is honestly one of the safest picks in this campaign because he'll improve almost every area of your team. Now let's talk about Shinji Ono because I genuinely think this is one of the hidden gems of the entire selection. A lot of people are going to ignore him simply because he isn't as famous as the other names here, and that's exactly why I think he's going to surprise so many players. First of all, he's a hole player, and if you've watched this channel for a while, you already know how much I rate that playstyle. Hole players are constantly looking for spaces behind the midfield. They don't just wait for the ball, they attack dangerous areas, make late runs into the box, and create passing options throughout the match. Then you look at the technical ability. 96 ball control, 95 tight possession, 95 dribbling, 94 low pass. This guy is ridiculously smooth on the ball. Then Konami gives him attack trigger, which only makes those attacking movements even more dangerous. Instead of standing around waiting for the play to develop, he's always looking to get into goal-scoring positions. He's also surprisingly complete. He can pass, dribble, shoot, and even has decent pace for an attacking midfielder. That's why I think players who enjoy quick 1-2 passing around the edge of the box are going to love him. The only downside is his physicality. He's not someone you're going to use to outmuscle defensive midfielders. His game is based on intelligence, movement, and technique rather than strength. But if that's the type of football you enjoy playing, Shinji Ono could easily become one of your favorite players in this campaign. Finally, let's talk about Daniele Massaro because I think he's probably the biggest wildcard in this selection. Whenever people hear Fox in the box, opinions immediately become divided. Some players absolutely love the playstyle, while others refuse to use it because they prefer goal poachers making constant runs in behind. The truth is, Fox in the box isn't a bad playstyle at all. You just have to understand what it's designed to do. Massaro isn't going to spend the entire match sprinting behind defenders. Instead, he'll position himself inside dangerous areas, stay close to the penalty box, and punish any mistake your opponent makes. And looking at his stats, that's exactly what Konami built him to do. His offensive awareness is outstanding, his finishing is elite, his heading is excellent, his physical contact is strong enough to hold off defenders. Then they added phenomenal finishing. Now this is where things become really interesting. We've already seen how dangerous this skill can be on top strikers because it improves their ability to finish difficult chances that ordinary players might miss. Give that to someone who already has elite finishing, and suddenly almost every opportunity inside the box becomes a genuine goal threat. If you're someone who likes crossing into the box, playing quick combinations around your striker, or using two center forward formations, Massaro could honestly be a brilliant choice. If you rely heavily on through balls and constant runs behind the defense, you might prefer another option from this campaign. But one thing is certain. Don't underestimate him because he's less popular. He might be meta. The last player in this selection is probably the one that's going to split opinions more than anyone else, and that's David Seaman. The reason is simple. Every time Konami gives us a free Epic selection contract, most people automatically think about attackers or midfielders because they're the players you notice the most during a match. Very few people wake up and say, you know what my team needs? A goalkeeper. But this David Seaman deserves a proper conversation. For starters, this isn't a card we see every month. In fact, the last Epic David Seaman was released back in 2024, so it's been a long time since players have had the opportunity to get him. This isn't just Konami recycling a card from a few months ago. They've brought him back with something completely new. His exclusive pay-to-win skill is GK directing defense. His goalkeeping awareness is outstanding, his catching is reliable, his reflexes are excellent, and he has the reach needed to deal with powerful shots from distance. That's everything you want from a keeper that stays close to his line and focuses on making consistent saves. The fact that he's a defensive goalkeeper is also worth mentioning because not everyone likes offensive goalkeepers rushing out every few minutes. Some players prefer having a goalkeeper that stays disciplined, protects the goal, and lets the defenders handle everything outside the box. If that's your preference, Seaman fits that role perfectly. Now, would I tell everyone watching this video to spend their selection contract on David Seaman? Not necessarily. And that's not because he's a bad card. It's because goalkeeper is one of those positions where value depends entirely on your current squad. If you've been struggling with standard goalkeepers or you've never owned a truly elite Epic goalkeeper before, David Seaman suddenly becomes a much stronger option than people might think. Remember, a goalkeeper is involved in every single match you play. One incredible save can literally be the difference between promotion and relegation, between winning and losing. So don't dismiss him just because he doesn't score goals. Now that we've gone through every single player, it's pretty obvious that this isn't one of those campaigns where there's one correct answer. Konami has actually done something I wish they did more often. They've made almost every player appealing for a different reason. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking because I can already tell this is going to be one of the most debated selections we've had in eFootball. So head down to the comments and tell me which legend you're planning to choose and more importantly, why. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.